Global economy, especially in a capitalist world, the role of private sector is extremely important. And they play as the engine of growth. They are pivotal in terms of creating a synergy, not just between the state-owned enterprises, but also giving the kind of directions to the government to actually contribute towards the ease of doing business. And similarly in Pakistan, while we have immense challenges, while our economy is under a lot of stress, but I think the private sector have contributed efficiently and effectively, especially now when the stage is setting for more sustainable ESG and also sustainable growth. I think the role of private sector will be more, and I can name those sectors including the agriculture sector, the mines and mineral sector, and also perhaps the renewable energy sector, and more importantly the education and vocational training sector, where the role of private sector will be extremely important, because the government does not have the finances to actually have the kind of understanding of what is coming their way, especially in terms of the industrial revolution, and the private sector engages with private sector across the globe. There is a supply chain convergence, and therefore they should actually help the government in creating the right kind of human resource which is required for actually leveraging our geography, leveraging our natural endowment, and also leveraging Pakistan at large with all the resources we have. Not only private sector, because private sector alone cannot create that enabling environment. For that enabling environment to have be in Pakistan, I think the role of government, especially in policy articulation, is exceedingly vital. And those policies have to be long term, because if the policies keep changing, the investors become jittery. And also clear directions from the government should come in terms of industry, and also in terms of the sector which should promote for private sector participation and foreign direct investment. But as for us, I think immediately what we need is an industrial policy which should have all the stakeholders involvement, and also should be for about 30 years, so that the private sector can start investing. For example, when private sector invested in Tharcoal, I think we were able to get results immediately. And similarly in agriculture sector, like we know certain groups like Fatma and Sapphire, which are contributing in cotton also, and therefore our yield for last year of cotton was nice. So I think similar efforts need to be taken. We have to create enabling environment. The private sector has to be the ambassador for telling good stories, telling true stories about Pakistan, so that the investors get the urge and the requirement to come and make money in Pakistan. But for that, and in support of the private sector, I think the government has major critical role in terms of making sustainable policies.
So we at SDPI are working on both these aspects. Number one, we are working on better business regulatory environment, which concurs for the fact that we are trying to capture a lot of things that can make doing business easier in Pakistan, and what is the perception of the regulators in the private sector. And secondly, we are also working on improving the capacity of the private sector, especially the micro, small and medium enterprises in Pakistan, with regards to how they can handle this regulatory pressure, as well as how can they be more competitive in the international market.
At SDPI, we have a dedicated Center for Private Sector Engagement. It has been engaging with the private sector in Pakistan with the focus to empower the private sector, particularly when it comes to SDGs in SDG 16 and 17. For that, the center is more focused on improving the overall regulatory environment. That is by empowering a dedicated national network of economic think tanks, which is more focused on providing staunch policy recommendations to the public sector, to the private sector, to the media and academia. The focus is to inculcate the private sector by enhancing the capacities of the chambers to be more rigorous in the research and development component, and also to contribute toward the economy of the country.